Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Free Speech, the Natural United podcast with me, Patrick Stepanek, the CEO of Natural United. And I created Natural Ohio and Natural United at this desk 5 years ago. And it's been amazing to see how far it's come. Within that amount of time, we've created a community of 1 million people. And for those of you that are close to Ohio geographically, I have a super exciting opportunity I want to bring up before we jump into the episode. So, on September 14th, in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park located in Peninsula, Ohio, we are going to try to plant 3,000 trees in replacement of an invasive species that was controlling the entire environment. So, if you're interested in joining that event, if you're interested in planting some trees, if you're interested in helping future generations of Earth breathe clean air, I will leave the Eventbrite description right at the top of the description of this video. And so, beyond that, Season 1 was a huge success. I was really fortunate to speak to a lot of very interesting intellectual people, to learn a lot about the environment and space and economics, and beyond that, just conservation in general. And so, this next season is going to be super exciting. We have a lot of very interesting topics in store that will hopefully be influential in your life. And if you have anything that you want us to include in future episodes, please leave it in the comments below. I'm more than open to discussing anything that you have in mind. But today's episode is actually going to be about the Amazon, which has been all over the news. And the reason it's been all over the news is because they have had 74,000 forest fires this summer, which is an incredible number and truthfully far more than we could have ever imagined would have happened. The rate at which these fires are occurring is beyond our imagination. And the two causes of why they're happening, the first one being we've had a very large drought this summer in the Amazon. But beyond that, the deforestation that we've seen from cattle ranching has really had a negative effect on the environment. And living in America, I know that over half of the farms that we have, they're not actually built for humans. Over half the farms in America are to produce food for animals, which goes to show there is a very strong argument behind veganism. But beyond that, the Amazon, it provides about 20% of the air that we breathe every day. And so the fact that there are 74,000 forest fires this year already in it is very disheartening because future generations of Earth are going to depend on the Amazon for air. And we can't really scrutinize Brazil that heavily because in America we've done the exact same thing. We've cut down so many trees in America. It's unbelievable. Even in comparison to Brazil, you look at a map of America before colonization, there were trees on every coast all the way down, even leading into the Midwest. That's just simply not the case anymore. And we're seeing a very similar effect in Brazil now that they're becoming more industrialized, is that the president, I have his name written down so I don't butcher it. So the president of Brazil, who was recently elected, Jair Bolsonaro, so he has basically taken back a lot of the environmental policies that were created in previous terms in order to protect the Amazon under the premise that the land is theirs and they have a right to economically benefit over having it. And while it's definitely a sound argument, this really does affect every human being across the planet. And so it's something that as much as we did the exact same thing, and we kind of need to repair all the damage that we've done, this is something that we actually have control over and that for the most part is still there, although you can already tell the damage that humans have done on the Amazon from space. And that is what's super alarming, is that astronauts are saying, every time I go up, it's pretty visible what the changes have been. And so that's relatively terrifying to me, especially like I said, the Amazon provides about 20% of the oxygen that we breathe in. And so it's a very vital aspect of our everyday life that we haven't really taken care of, nor does it look like we're going to in the years to come. So the reason that I bring this up is because I would like to have a positive impact on it myself. As much as planting trees in Ohio is beneficial where I grew up, I want to do it in every country around the world. And there's a lot that need to be saved out there. And so I hope to spend some time in my career trying to figure out how we can conserve that for future generations. And so here is a few facts about the Amazon that I think that everyone should know and it would benefit you to understand. So first of all, The Amazon is the world's largest tropical rainforest, and tropical rainforests are essential to our everyday life because they hold so much biodiversity. We learn a lot about cures to diseases, different remedies that we can use from seeing all of these different types of plants and animals. And when we cut down forests, we put that at risk. And so, what we've seen in the Amazon is a reduction of the diversity of species given the amount of trees that we've cut down. So that is very alarming and something that I think that we should change. So the Amazon itself is located in Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Guinea, Suriname, and French Guinea. So 8 countries, and it covers so much land and is a vital, vital aspect of the everyday life of the people there as well as ours. And so they have an interest in protecting it as well, but most of it falls under the domain of Brazil. And so Brazil pretty much has the majority of control when it comes to how we actually treat the rainforest there. The river running through is nearly 3,000 kilometers. That is the Amazon River. And it is one of the most astounding bodies of water in the entire world. That ecosystem, truthfully, is unlike anything else that we have, and that's why it's so important to protect. And so, living along the river, there are believed to be 400 to 500 native tribes. And obviously, this number is up to interpretation, but 50 of them supposedly have no contact with the outside world. That's crazy to think about because, I'm an American citizen. I interact with people all over the country. I'm a part of a greater group of people, but these 50 civilizations are pretty much completely on their own. And I find that to be fascinating, that their life from beginning to end is interacting with the people who are specifically in their tribe. And I think that's kind of a beautiful part of being a human being that we might have lost touch with in our modern society. There's certainly benefits of our modern society that we have, but it is crazy to realize that there are still people who live with no contact with the outside world. And they're in South America, not too far away from us. And then beyond that, within the Amazon, there are 40,000 individual plant species, 1,300 bird species, 3,000 types of fish, 430 mammals, and 2.5 million different forms of insects. And the reason I used my notes is I wanted to make sure that I got all of the empirical numbers right. But hopefully those numbers helped you realize how influential the Amazon is in our biodiversity on the planet. It is absolutely crucial that we hold on to every bit of life that we can maintain down there. And as much as humans have become the natural predator of the world, and I understand that maybe we have a right to all the things that we're capable of conquering, it's important to remember that a lot of the good things on our earth come as a result of the biodiversity that we have here. And with this deforestation, we're slowly eliminating that. And so, a small project, nothing major thus far. I'm 22 years old, but I'm looking to do much more similar projects to this all around the world, is planting 3,000 trees in Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio, where I grew up. I intend to do similar projects in every state around the United States and then in every country around the world. But for now, this is a start. I just graduated college, and there's 100-person max to this event. I would love for you to be one of those 100 people, and I'm so excited to do this because it is something that I feel I can do to give back to my community. On top of that, replace an invasive species with something that's been there and will benefit the environment. So thank you guys all so much for listening to this episode. This is the first episode of Season 2 of Free Speech. I hope to create many, many seasons of this where I can learn a lot about the environment that I can share with you, and then you can bring up the ideas you're curious about, so I'll look into it for you.